Sorry, need the names, and one. Okay.
First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. There you go. That's who we're going to be talking to here in just a minute. We are talking about the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. We're live here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. And as always, thanks for joining us. We're continuing, though, this event coverage that we have been doing here for today on today's episodes, depending on when you're watching these. You can always check out past episodes on the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, on our app, on the website, so lots of places to go for that. But the Trans-Siberian Orchestra is returning on November 26th to Portland, to the Moda Center, and this is the 27th year of touring that the Trans-Siberian Orchestra has been around, which is just crazy to think how many years it's been there. It is a huge production. If you've never been to it before, or if you've never seen it, you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't done those other two things, we will cover some of that here in the interview, because earlier today I got to sit down with Al Petrelli, who is the music director of the event. He's been around since the very beginning of it. Also, side note, he's played with Alice Cooper, with Megadeth, with a lot of other bands, but Trans-Siberian Orchestra, he's been around there really since the beginning of running and helping with this. And we also have Kayla Reeves, who's one of the lead vocalists on this tour. So I got to talk to both of them just about what the tour is, about what it's like being on it, and what we can expect this year. So a lot is covered in here. So let's go ahead and play that now. I'll pull it up. As you saw, there it is. Alan. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have been to a show before, but for the people who haven't ever been to a Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, they've probably heard the name, but what's that experience like going in there for the first time? What should they expect?
Well, if you look behind Kayla and I mean, that's just like the little tip of the iceberg. I mean, hands down, it's the biggest rock and roll production on God's earth. Visually, it's a spectacle and it's so much fun. Musically, there's something for everybody, from works from the great composers. You know, we do symphonies by Mozart and Beethoven, a lot of traditional holiday themes, some good old-fashioned American rock and roll, and everything in between. And it's also got a sort of theatrical presentation. You know, Paul's story, The Ghost of Christmas Eve, has become a tradition for so many families in your community and communities around America this time of year.
Yeah, it really has. But and I think that's incredible how much you've been able to incorporate all that in there. And, you know, for both of you, though, I want to ask too, just as musicians, you know, what is it like for you from that standpoint? Because I know you're both so accomplished in your own rights and all the different things you've done. I mean, Al, you played on a Megadeth album that I love, and all the other stuff that you've done too. But so what is it like as a musician performing for something like this?
Terrifying. You know, I mean, there's so much going on. You have 2 hours and 15 minutes from the jump, the intro. It could be, you know, a really involved symphony. 1 minute I'll be playing acoustic guitar. 1 minute Kayla's doing a solo vocal in front of 18,000 people and just, you know, with their jaws open. I think the biggest responsibility that we have is to continually let the show grow and evolve and make it better year after year after year. Now, I remember coming through Portland the first time, I think it was in 2001, and what was originally the Rose Garden before it became the Moda Center. And we set up sideways in the building, you know, kind of on the floor looking up. And I think maybe there's 4,000 people in the building. A lot of those people have been coming back year after year after year, and we call them our repeat offenders. You know, they can't get enough, thank goodness. But we owe them a bigger and better show every year. So I think as musicians and artists, we just want to always go back to the drawing board and say, how can we make next year a little bit better? How can we make the production even more over the top than it is right now? Because I think what would break both of our hearts if we ever heard anybody say, it was better last year. You know, that won't happen under our watch.
Well, how do you do that? How do you keep, I mean, 27 years to come up with a new concept, a new show, so nobody's getting to see the same thing every time. Like, how do you come up with the concepts for each year?
Well, we take 2 weeks off when we get home in January, and in mid-January, our department heads and management, and we all get together and start racking our brains about how we are going to, you know, fulfill that expectation and that huge responsibility that we have. And it means a lot to us. So like Paul O'Neill used to say, we just keep putting more chips on the table.
If you think about it, Greg, you go back to 99 when we did our first show, okay, 1 box truck, 2 buses and a fog machine, you know, and we thought we were all that then, you know what I mean? And if you watch the trajectory over the last 20-something years of touring, like Kayla just said, Paul O'Neill put everything back into the show. He wanted to put on a spectacle. especially as it was becoming, excuse me, a holiday tradition for so many families. You know, starting with us, going right through the O'Neill family management department heads, like Kayla said, everybody's enjoying this work, and we want it to be more special every year.
And it's obviously been doing that. I mean, it's such a huge accomplishment, 27 years. I mean, now you're coming back again, just looking at it behind the screen where you're talking too. I'm even getting distracted by looking at that because there's a bunch of fire going on. So, you know, when it comes to that, to the theatric side of thing, like how long does that take to put together? You mentioned the concept is a couple of weeks working on that part, but I mean, the production alone, I think that's something that's really equally as impressive.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's the other half of the show. Um, you know, it's pretty much year round. Like Kayla said, department heads, management, the O'Neill family, everybody starts putting pencil to paper by mid-January because it takes that long just to not only come up with the ideas, but to try to implement them. And not only implement them, you got to keep in mind it takes 30 days to put the show together for opening night. Right? The crew's going to be working with us 30 days. We'll run that show twice a day for the better part of a month for opening night. The next day, they got 6 hours to build it. You know, so it's a year-long process just to, you know, get your legs ready to go.
That's crazy. How many trucks do you have involved in a show like this?
What was last year, 21?
I've lost count. It's a 21.
A lot.
Yeah.
Almost
a
all
lot.
of the trucks. Yeah, it's a lot, dude.
It's also a lot of shows in a short amount of time. I mean, you're packing in quite a bit over like 90 days or however long it is that you're maybe no less than that. You're packing in a
45 days.
lot. So how do you maintain your energy throughout all that?
Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And honestly, the crowd really gives us back that energy during the show. We feed off of that. I can really feed off of the energy that I'm getting from the audience. And this is our playground. This is a dream come true for us. It never gets boring, never gets old. And we're just little kids having a blast out there.
Yeah, the house lights go down and we just turn into teenagers all over again. You know, give her a microphone, put a Les Paul around my neck, and it's on. We just live for this.
Right? You're living the dream. I mean, you're getting to perform in front of all these crowds every night, you know, playing music. What's that feeling like for you when you actually get to talk to some of the fans and get that feedback from them? And, you know, they come every year. They enjoy this so much. This is part of their holiday tradition, really, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How does that feel for you personally?
Well, it's an incredible feeling. I mean, like Kayla just said, it's also an incredible responsibility. When people say, you know, it's not the holidays till you guys roll through town or we play your music, you know, from Thanksgiving to New Year's. You know, when we started this thing in '95, when I first recorded the opening notes to Christmas Eve, Sarajevo, 12/24, I was just happy and proud to be part of something so special and so powerful. Never did I think that you and I'd be having this conversation, you know, what's going on 28 years later, and to speak to the folks in the audience and the community that's embraced us. You know, they'll say things like, you know, well, my daughter, she went and got violin lessons because she saw you guys last year. Or, you know, I started playing the guitar because of you. I started singing because of Kayla. You know, you're reaching out and touching lives in a manner in which I didn't really see on the horizon. I'm sure Paul O'Neill and his family did. But for me, I'm always put back on my heels listening to the reaction that people have to what we're so blessed to be able to do year after year.
Right, bring this out there for people. I mean, that is it's so cool. I'm just, you know, I'm really happy to be talking to both of you, and also just impressed. I also play music, so I can't imagine what that feeling's like being out there doing this, you know, every single night when you're out there with this. So for something else though, for I guess looking at Trans-Siberian Orchestra in the pantheon of rock and roll and metal and where this fits in there, where would you classify it? Is there a classification for it, or is it its own animal?
I would say it's its own animal, and that's the way it was truly designed. It's Paul's vision coming to life, and it's designed that there's something for everyone. You can't really put it in its own box. It's a full experience in itself. And so we're excited.
I think that's what got everybody's attention at first, because it was so different than anything else that had been going on. You know, when that song hit the radio back in winter '95 for the first time, everybody, you know, was like, what is that? You know, it's like the first time I heard Led Zeppelin, or when I saw the Beatles as a kid on Ed Sullivan, you know, not putting us in those worlds necessarily, but it was something so brand new and so powerful and so heavy and so deep that everybody just went, well, what's that? And every time they got a little closer to it, Paul would keep coming up with new ideas to surprise them, both musically and, again, visually. So
Right.
you really can't compare it to anything else, but I'm glad it's become its own thing and people just love it for what it is.
It is. I mean, I think that's probably one of the best compliments ever is you've created your own, this is its
Yeah.
own thing. Like
It's its
you
own
can't
thing.
really compare this to anything else directly. There isn't anything like that. One more personal question, just talking about the tour. Do you two ever have time off while you're on tour, or is it pretty much just perform, hotel, travel? That's it.
I mean, we get a couple of days off, but it's like we play 10 shows in 5 days, and then it's a marathon, but we have a blast. I guarantee you, there's nothing else we'd rather be doing. We're family, and this is our holiday tradition, and we're just excited to get back to Portland and blow it up in there.
Yeah,
Fog
nice.
it, light it, blow it
Open
up.
up.
Love it.
And also, let me just interrupt you one
yeah.
second, brother.
No, go for it.
But one of the most important things is how I hear the excitement in your voice, and the adoration that you have for this as well. If we're just talking about a show, we're selling a show, but I could hear it from your side that you genuinely enjoy this, and that means everything to us. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love theatrics. I love rock and roll. I love loud music. The fire in the background, the lace, the whole deal that you've got going here. I mean,
And there it is.
it's just plain fun, and that's why
It's fun.
that's why I think it's so neat that even all these years later, this is still just getting bigger and bigger, and more people are discovering it. More people get to go have fun with something like this, and maybe people who wouldn't ordinarily go to a show that is loud guitars and everything happening there, they get to come in and experience it too, and even dip into this world of rock and roll. So I think it's awesome.
No, it is. And the folks in the audience, ages 2 to 92.
Right.
And everything in between. Generations of families are coming out together, fists in the air, everybody's having a great
Yeah.
time. Kayla and I have some of the best seats in the house from our vantage point downstage center, just watching expressions change.
Right.
Like you get this teenager like texting going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm at some Russian concert." And then the house lights go down and we hit the stage, you're like, yes,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's
I mean, there's
fun.
not very many shows that would have that kind of wide range of an audience.
No, not too many. We're just blessed and fortunate to be part of it. And again, it's brand new every time we go out on the road, every show, even like, we're talking twice a day. Every downbeat's a brand new first show for everybody involved.
Nice. Well, I know you two are both very busy talking to a lot of people right now, so I want to give you your time back here. But I appreciate you talking to me too, and joining me here just to discuss this. Congrats on all the success. Good luck on the tour.
Thank you.
I'll be down there. I'll see you. See you in the show. And yeah, thanks for being here with me.
Thanks for having us, brother. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.
All right, so there we go. Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Again, they're coming back on November 26th. You can pick up your tickets for that. But something I did want to give context to because they kept bringing up Paul. Paul is the original founder of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He's a band called Sabotage. We don't even have to go into that part, but that is why they're referencing him, and he passed away just a few years ago, but yet they continued on with the tour. So that's why they kept saying the name Paul. I probably should have told you that ahead of time, but that's the reference point on that. So again, this is Fox 12 Now. We get to cover a lot of things here on this show. So if it's your first time watching, we've got lots of videos, lots of coverage that you can find on our YouTube channel for Fox 12 Oregon, on our app, on our website, so you can take a look at all of that. If there's ever breaking news that's happening between our newscasts, so from 1 to 4, this is the place to go. And I will keep you up to date on whatever is going on with that. So we'll break into whatever is happening, and you will find us here, whatever app you're on right now. That's where you'll find us. So if you ever have something as well that you think should be covered, or maybe there's a news story you want a deeper dive on, feel free to send us an email, fox12now@kptv.com. You may have noticed we have an entirely new thing going called Fox 12 Investigates. I'm going to have actually Adrian Thomas joining us here on Friday to talk all about that side of things. So lots of coverage here on this show. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm signing off right now. I'm